This story is about my grandmother. She was born in 1927 in the west of Ukraine, but at that time it was Poland. I was born with the cherries are getting red. This is something my grandmother used to tell. 80 years ago, her mother couldn't resist temptation and climbed the tree to pick some cherries and fell down. In result, my grandmother was born a bit earlier. So every year we celebrate her birthday with a big bowl of cherries.
Все, про дитинство розкажіть, так. Щось веселе.
In 1939, Soviet regime came to the west of Ukraine. A year later, when she was 12 years old, the school headmaster ordered her to his office. When she entered the office, there was already police waiting. They took her to the train station where she saw her mother crying, an exhausted face of her father. They were about to be deported as an enemy of the nation. It was Easter time. She used to tell us the story. They were planning to organize a big celebration. Everything was ready and was waiting at home. Home that they had to leave so unexpectedly. It took 21 days to travel by this train from Ukraine to Asia to Kazakhstan. They were traveling only during the night time, doors locked and window closed. Food was given once a day, bread and water. It was the Easter time. That was the year they celebrate Easter in the train. People involved in transportation, they were celebrating. So my family and other people get locked for 3 days without food and water, with closed windows in the train. One woman was pregnant and she gave birth to a child. He died, and they had to throw away the body. That Easter, my grandma will never forget. On the 22nd day, they arrived to Semipalatinsk in Kazakhstan. Locals were warned that criminals are coming, so they covered the windows and didn't go out. For a long time they would be scared to come closer, making staying in Kazakhstan unbearably lonely and cold. They had to work on the community farm for water and bread. After 2 months of that, US signed a treaty with Soviet, and all Polish citizens were allowed to leave. My grandmother's family could have left as well. They could say that they're Polish. This is what majority of people did. But my family wanted to be able to come back to Ukraine, that was a part of Soviet Union. So they waited. And they waited 10 more years in Kazakhstan to be able to come back home. And to celebrate Easter in Ukraine. It was not so easy to come back home. They were called enemy of the nation. They were foreigners in their own country. They have no place to live. That was a life full of suffering and hate. Took a long time to build their life from the scratch, but they made it, as my grandma say, with songs and love and support from each other. Slowly, step by step. It's not important how deep you fall down. Important that you stand up again. The wisdom I will always remember from my grandmother. There are so many stories from the past. We learn them at school, but do we remember them? It's easy to forget facts, but it's difficult to forget people's faces. This story is about giving the real faces to the history.